The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever loves me will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our dwelling with him. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words. Yet the word you hear is not mine, but that of the Father who sent me. I have told you this while I am with you. The Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything, remind you of all that I told you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give it to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid. You heard me tell you, I am going away, and I will come back to you. If you love me, you would rejoice that I am going to the Father. The Father is greater than I. And now I have told you this before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe." Gospel of the Lord. In our second reading from the book of Revelation, John is having a vision. He's on a high mountain and he sees the holy city of Jerusalem coming down from heaven, coming down from God. It's a wonderful vision. The city's all lit up. It's bright and shiny, just like precious stones. But one thing that's different about it, the Jewish people would immediately recognize, is that there's no temple. Here's the city of Jerusalem. There's no temple. They would have been used to that image. But there's no need for the temple now. We hear that in the gospel today, because Jesus says, "Whoever loves me will keep my word. The Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our dwelling in him." So the temple is no longer the presence of God among his people, because God has now come down, Father and with the Son, Jesus, and now dwells within us. We don't need the presence in the Holy of Holies anymore, because God now has entered his people, is not at a distance, but is within us. Jesus uses the word love. "Whoever loves me will keep my word." We've heard that word over and over again during this Easter season. Love. It's like we've said in the past, it's not just a normal love. It's a big love. It's agape. It's a big love. It's the love that God has for his people. And that's what we as Christians are called to have for others. Agape, a big love. And that we will have help in doing that, in loving others with that big love, because once Jesus returns to the Father, he promises that he will send the Holy Spirit, the Advocate, in order to help us be the people that Jesus calls us to be. Paracletus is in the English translation, the Advocate. Paracletus in the Greek, it means para is beside, called, kletos. It means to be called beside or to be a helper. To be a helper is someone to help us. Paracletus, that's the Advocate, the coming, the Holy Spirit. This is the first in the Gospel of John we've heard of the Holy Spirit. Jesus is speaking of the Holy Spirit in a personal way. This isn't simply the Spirit of God kind of meaning. This is the Holy Spirit's coming. The Holy Spirit will do something. So all of a sudden this whole introduction of another person into the gospel, the Holy Spirit, the one who breathes life into his church. And then we come to another word that we've heard now over and over again, peace. Peace in Greek is eirene. Eirene, it means to tie together. Eirene, tie together, make a bundle, pull it together, make it whole. This is to become the whole, to be what it's supposed to be, peace. So when Jesus says, "I give my peace to you," he's wishing you to be whole, to be who you are, to pull it together, and to be a tight bundle, to be the person that we're called to be. Jesus says in the gospel, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give you." And he says, "It's not as the world gives that I give you this peace." This is special. This is like the love, agape, it's big love. Now we have this big peace, This big idea of peace that God gives us, calling us to be who we are. It doesn't come to us like the world talks about peace and love, because that can disappear in an instant. But this is a kind of peace and love that will last forever. In Hebrew, it's shalom. Wish you shalom. In Hebrew, you would, when you meet someone or leave someone, wish them peace. Shalom. It's that may your life be together. May it all be tied up in a bundle, and so you can be who you are. And so on this 6th week of Easter, we're called to reflect upon all the number of times we've heard these words during Easter. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Because it's Jesus talking to us, helping us to listen to that and to take it seriously. Not just let it go in one ear and out the other, but really listen to it and know that as God's people, we're called to be people of a great love. Great love. Not be petty, not be angry, not be divisive, not be like the world. The world's in a terrible shape right now, it seems like. But in spite of all of that, as Christians, we're called to be people of love and peace. And to know that the Holy Spirit is working within us, and that we have if we follow Jesus' word, then we have the Father and the Son inside of us. The presence of God is within us. We're like little tabernacles that walk about, and having the presence of God within us, and in order to share it with others. And so as we anticipate next week, we celebrate the Ascension, in which Jesus is going back to the Father. He says, don't be sad because I'm going back to the Father, because if you love me, you let me go. It's sort of like with your children when they're growing up. And if you had control over everything, you may not let the kids ever leave. You want to keep them home. But it can't be like that. They have to leave. If you love them, you let them go. Otherwise, the human race would end. You can't just stay home with mom and dad. So you've got to let them go. That's the loving behavior. And Jesus is saying, that's how you love me. You love me by let me go back to the Father. Let me go back to the way I was in the beginning as the second person of the Blessed Trinity, but now as the incarnate Word. And I will go back, but then the Holy Spirit will be here to help you. And then in a couple weeks, we celebrate Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit on the Jewish feast of Pentecost did descend upon the people and did fill the disciples with life, with new love, with sign of fire and wind. The Holy Spirit came, just as Jesus said the Holy Spirit would. But this is a new person for them, not known about the Holy Spirit. So this is a new introduction of the third person of the Blessed Trinity that they had not known of before. And so as we anticipate a celebration of the Ascension next Sunday and then Pentecost the Sunday after that, let's reflect upon that, the whole notion of peace and love, not as the world gives it, but as God gives it to us. It's huge, huge ideas, a huge peace and a huge love, and then we're called to share that with all the people every day.